First Spin. Welcome to First Spin, a show where I learn how to use a parallax propeller without having any prior programming experience. And rather than do this on my own, I have enlisted the help of Grumpy Cat and King Eltham. How are you guys? Whisker's Grumpy Cat, which is appropriate for because South by Southwest is currently going on. And apparently Grumpy Cat is sitting there taking pictures. Yeah. And there are dig articles about the ethical nature of a cat getting pictures taken of. Isn't that weird?
That's what happens when you let hipsters drive the boat.
I think journalists need some better fodder. So hi guys, it's been a month and it's been actually really busy at the Toymaker household.
For some of us.
For all of us, because we've had a lot of we had a 48-hour hackathon one weekend, and then the next weekend I think I had to work, and then the next weekend after that I had to work again. So really the time that I needed to spend on Byte has been non-existent. Yeah. So I mean, I think I let Roy check out some of the Byte code that I had. And Roy, why don't you give him a tiny little excerpt on
It was like somebody started doing their homework and then got distracted, and then the next day they thought, "Oh, I did my homework already. I'll turn that in next week." And then it comes to next week and you see that it's only half done.
Right. So I think there are a lot more new commands added. Some of the commands have changed. But the problem is, since we've added registers, there are no commands that do anything with those registers besides put information into them. And that's isn't that kind of like a cesspool or like a black hole if you don't do anything with the registers with another command?
Well, it's just, invalid.
Well.
It's
useless.
It's useless, yeah.
Right. Because you put the memory in and you can't get it back out because you know what?
You're making the processor do something and then not using the results, so you're basically wasting electricity.
Right.
Your carbon footprint is growing massively for no reason.
We're trying to be green here on First Spin. So then this kind of reminds me, these registers really remind me of the memory function on a calculator.
Mm-hmm.
You press the M+, and I've only recently in the last couple years figured out how that M+ worked, and Whisker's grumpy catting over there. His eyebrows are
ridiculous.
furrowing.
You're in your 20s and you just figured out how to use the memory feature in a calculator?
Well, yes.
You're Asian to boot. Asians are supposed to be good at calculators.
No.
Did you guys invent the abacus or something?
Yes, we did. But
it's got nothing but memory function.
But I just memorize it in my head, It's like we do it in our heads. We don't need a freaking calculator.
Right.
Calculators are for you guys, the consumers. China wins.
You know what they'd call you if you showed
up
to
gosh,
China?
So politically not correct.
An American.
Well, I have It burns as Grumpy Cat's on the loose. Our listeners are gonna be like, "Why are these people on?" So we're glad to be back. And hopefully, I promise to work more on this interpreter. But as I told Whisker and Roy, I think Whisker wants to. Well, he doesn't want to, but he kind of wants to write the host programs. So the actual programs that run off of the interpreter.
I want Addie to stop getting distracted and writing commands that replace entire sections of programs because she's not understanding what we want her to do.
Well, it sounded like a good idea at the time.
Like instead of writing interpreter code to help make a calculator easier, she just writes a calculator as a command in the interpreter.
Yeah, you just do C for calculate and then it miraculously calculates. What can I
So
say?
your Addie's version of an interpreter would be every possible program you could ever want to write as a different command.
Which plays
Dude,
back into the whole
that's
Chinese thing
awesome.
because their language is like that. Instead of having letters, they have words. So, you need to have, 8,000 different things you need to remember how to write down because every single word has its own little picture to it.
It's a beautiful
So
language.
Chinese is why we have Unicode 32-bit.
8 bits was fine, and then the Addies of the world messed it up for everybody.
What can I say? What can I say? All your manufacturing are belong to us.
That's not funny.
It's terribly
It's also
Do you have
not
any idea how many people out there have lost their jobs?
Oh, pish. More
Whole
jobs have been
economies
given
have
to
collapsed. Families have been destroyed. Houses have been
them.
foreclosed.
Yeah.
Kids haven't got to go to college, and you're making jokes about it?
Yeah, well.
That's terrible. I'm the joker on this show. If anybody's going to
Yeah,
tell
but
me
you're
jokes,
grumpy.
it's me,
You're grumpy
and I'm on
cat.
strike.
Yeah, you're.
So there's going to be no laughing, no shenanigans.
I'm afraid you are going to be mistaken
I
there.
know. Because guess what? Guess what, folks? What are we about to do in a month and a half?
We're going to go on vacation.
We're going to go on vacation. Roy, what does that mean?
You're coming to visit me.
Coming to visit you, Mr. Roytham, Mr. King Eltham. And we're going to visit Parallax.
And then we're going to go driving down the west coast.
Yes. Looking at the beach, right? With the top
Looking
down.
At the big, giant, ancient trees.
And big trees. And then we're going to see freaking Parallax and all its glory. Right? We're going to see Ken. We're going to see Chip.
We're going to see our friends in the Bay Area for a few days.
We're going to see Joe Grand. Mr. Joe Grand. And
hang out with Jessica.
Jessica, yes, we got to play Magic with her.
Yeah.
So
I
all
just
you
got
listeners,
my Magic cards too.
Right?
They were packed away in a box.
All you listeners, I swear, if we have a big Magic tournament, we will be nerds deluxe. So please bring your Magic cards or buy a ghetto set.
Get one of those starter packs from Amazon.
A starter
like
pack. Because then I'll be able to play with you.
Because there wasn't enough nerd activity going on there.
Right.
We're going to have nerd overload.
Well, and I think they were talking in the forums about doing a, I don't know, maybe Friday night, like, hack fest where we'd make a Rube Goldberg. Is that right?
Yeah, so the idea is it was started by Urko, who now isn't going to go because he changed his mind. He wants to go he wants to go to the the one that's going to be later this year with the kids and whatnot.
Oh, I see.
More interested in that.
I see.
He's more into the education and targeting kids.
Sure.
For his projects.
Sure.
Anyway, and he can only go to one. But the idea is to have sort of a group participation of building kind of like a Rube Goldberg, but it's really more just a chain reaction thing where each person makes a project which has a input switch that starts it and then does something interesting, and then as its outputs sets a switch on the next thing. Right.
So then I have a question. What are we going to do as First Spin? Team First Spin has to have an entry.
Well, I was planning on doing something on my own, but we could do something together also.
Together? We could
do things.
Roy Eltham, Lone Wolf.
You guys should have a rabbit hole one too, right? You could bring the rabbit hole representative.
No. Those guys smell.
Hey, no, they don't.
No, I mean, but you guys could bring the thing that you guys make as part of the rabbit hole.
Oh, so we're just a taxi service for hacks.
And I'll bring
no laughing, Roy.
And then we'll also make one as Team First Spin.
But
the idea is that some people will make them ahead of time, but we could also have on the Friday hackathon thing that we're planning on having, which I think Ken is trying to help coordinate a little bit this now.
Okay.
I need to talk to him again about that. The afternoon.
Is that going to be
Friday? over at the State Bridge
Okay.
in that conference room where we were at
Yep.
last time. So we could work on a project there and do like test runs of connecting the various pieces together to make a continuous thing. And then the idea would be that we would like connect it all together and have it set up like on a table on the Saturday at the show, going every once in a while or something like
Oh,
that.
fun. Okay.
My experience with the hacking night was showing up and asking Bo Schwabi an innocent question, and then 6 hours later, Addie beating him off with a stick, saying that I had to go to bed.
Yeah, well, he's really fun to talk to, and a simple little question starts a long conversation about 14 different things. It's really cool.
I wasn't complaining.
Nope.
No,
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Like every time I've met up with him before one of these shows, or just to hang out with him, like one of the times over at Chips, we spent a long time talking about all kinds of stuff. He's got a lot of experience and a lot of interesting things he's done and worked on. So
Yep. So I just want to double check.
It's
It's
really smart.
May 4th, correct?
May 4th is the day of the official Propeller conference.
Right. And then the Friday before is going to be party.
Yeah, well, hacking and probably some kind of going off to dinner or ordering dinner kind
We
of
should
thing.
totally get a house DJ from Austria to
Yeah.
to do a dance party for the nerds. It'd be great.
Tom, Roy will pay for your tickets.
No.
How much are round trip tickets from Austria?
Oh boy.
Maybe we can talk Ken into doing that.
That would be awesome. DJ Ken. DJ Gracie on the floor.
I don't think that's what Roy meant, but that would be entertaining too.
That would be excellent.
That would be actually pretty
Ken,
hilarious.
if you're listening, your kids would think you were the awesomest person ever.
Well, they
I think-
already did that.
Dude, we're trying to bribe him here. Shh. Ken, DJ Gracie in the house. Okay, so we gotta be serious because
This is this very serious
this is a
show.
very serious show. So you know the contest, the MicroMedic contest. First, new announcement: Forrest Mims, maker of all those really cool books, is going to be one of the judges.
Awesome.
Which is highly exciting. So that's one. And then two, I have been contemplating a project.
Well, you better hurry up and decide and submit to be in.
Well, I think I still have a while until I had to.
You know
No,
how
while till it's done, but there's cut off on entering.
When's the cutoff on entering?
I don't remember. You have to look it up, Miss MicroMedic expert.
you know how you go to people's houses and their guest bathrooms have like People magazine or whatever sitting in there?
Sure.
Our house, we have Forrest Mims Radio Shack books from the 80s
People are
in the
like,
guest bathrooms.
that's horrible. Let's see. January 14th to July. Okay, rules and applications. Let's look at this. Eligibility, purpose, competition, prizes. Final project submission July 31st.
Yeah, that's the being done with it.
Say we've reached the part of the show where Addie reads a website.
I
Dang it. It's here somewhere. We'll find it.
think there was a limit, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could
Well,
be wrong.
I'll
but-
find it. But essentially, I'm a nurse and I kind of feel semi-obligated to like do a medical project. Now they are trying to curb the number of projects that are just getting vitals,
Right.
so like blood pressure.
Because everyone's doing that.
Right. And that, you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, we already have extremely cheap options to do all of that. You can
Yeah.
get temperature probes for like 99 cents. You can get so really the things that people are making are not challenging or not pushing the envelope, not challenging really for
Yeah,
for
not-
what this competition is supposed to do. So for those who are thinking of still getting into it, please think beyond what we have already.
Yeah, you got to try to make something more innovative or more of a solving a problem that exists that hasn't really been solved very well yet.
Right.
Right.
Right. So, and like in the hospital, so I work in a cardiovascular surgery unit, where patients are up and walking and they still have their chest tubes, they still have their lines, and we're the ones who get all those out and then send them home. And really, there's no like robot necessarily that I could make that makes our job any easier. Because you kind of need people to do all that, and we already have we have computers in every room, we have monitors in every room that you slap a cuff on somebody, you stick a temperature probe in their mouth, and you pretty much have what you need, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think the thing is my guess is they want something closer to like diagnostic, or something that, or like a command in an interpreter. Ooh, that's a nice segue. I mean, not a segue, but that's like a really bad connection, right? Right? Does that make sense?
I don't. I think what they want is their goal is to try to get new people involved in thinking about the problems so that they might get some new and different ways to solve things and to do things that might end up being something innovative or something new that could, potentially have a decent impact on things instead of just more of the same.
Right.
And it seems like they got quite a few submissions that are just more of the same, or really expensive versions of stuff that's already been
out there,
mass produced into cheapness, like
right.
you said.
Right. And like I said last time, or I think when we talked about the MicroMedic contest with Ken and Doc, don't limit yourself to the sensors that they have in the kit. Right. Those are resources. They're nothing more. Right. They're not,
just to spark ideas. Right. They're just there for possible solutions of things, not what you must use.
Right. So, my project, which I think I will send in, unless somebody takes it from me after listening to this show, is, like mass casualty triage and all that. Do you know anything about that?
No.
Okay, so say
I avoid things like that because
yeah, that's probably you live in California, so however much you avoid.
I live in Bellevue, Washington now.
Oh, true. Yeah. Good point. So when the hipsters turn into zombies, right?
Yeah.
Wait, which show is this?
What? Yeah. Well, we're all one happy family.
Hipster zombies. That's our other show.
Okay, so when people turn into zombies, right, and you need to know who's bit, who's not bit, who's alive, or who's just injured because of a broken leg, that's not disease ridden or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a first wave of people that go out to triage folks, which is to essentially say, are you dead? Are you going to be dead? Like, do we need to do immediate stuff in order to be able to save you? Are you able to walk?
It's sort of like the quick diagnosis to see if it's something quick and easy or more involved, and are you beyond help or not? That kind of thing.
Right. And so I thought, well, it's, say you have like hundreds or thousands of people that this is happening to. Like, what is an easy way for first responders, EMT folks, to know where the most need is at? So I thought, well, I've got a 5-position switch, and I've got a GPS location thing, right? And so I thought, well, why not make a mass casualty tracker where the first responders could go out, and depending on the person, they would do a quick switch, so if we look
set the switch to a certain setting and
Yep.
and
And
it
then
would record the GPS location
precisely.
and the switch setting.
Can we do
into
this
a
like a McDonald's cash register? So just have little pictures on it instead of a 5-position switch. You've got like,
Yeah.
you know, like healthy looking dude, not so good looking dude. He's maybe a little green.
Yeah.
And then you've got like dude who's probably not going to make it, so we'll just like let him die, whatever. And
Well-
then very dead, like gory image on the bottom one where he's just like
Yeah.
splattered.
Well, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd make it really easy for anybody to use it.
Right. But the reason I used a 5-position switch, which you could exchange for 5 switches, is because
Or a really cool infographic that has little icons with people of different.
calm down, Whisker.
So like there's like
Simmer down.
the half dead, half eaten version of a dude because he's been attacked by zombies, right?
Right.
That's like the bottom, the last switch setting.
Right. So then,
And then all the way on the other side is the guy that's all happy face.
Right.
He's not been bitten at all.
so then this is the thing, right? Like so I have code, right, which I've sent to
Uh-huh.
you, Roy. I don't know if I
Uh-huh.
should release this to other people, but it's up to you guys. Essentially what it does is it looks at the switch, and when you come across a person, you go to a position and then you click it to send or to record down the
Right.
color or like the
What do you mean color?
the
Like
grade of the person. No, like the
Right.
situation of the person and the
So like
GPS
red
location.
is important and green is okay.
so
Right.
green isn't this person looks kind of sickly.
No. Green is like
No.
minimal. Like they're up walking and talking and
And
know.
yellow is, you know,
Asian. Just go on to
middle
the next person.
Whisker.
middle
I'm turning
middle
off
of
his
the,
mic.
you know, needs help but could handle
Could
a
handle
slight
like a broken
delay.
arm, you know,
Yeah.
can handle that.
Mm.
So I'm trying to understand the logic in this code that you sent me.
Okay.
So
So let's look at the
what I-
code here.
So hold on. What
oh.
I'm trying to understand is
Yep.
you set it to one of the 5 positions or you push it to one of the 5 positions. Is that what that means?
So when you set it, okay, and then
Mhm.
you push it. And pushing it records the color and the
So explain the 5 position switch because I've never used one.
it's like an
I'm not
up
familiar
down.
with it.
It's like a
Yeah.
joystick. So
It's like a little
okay,
Eva song. You bend it.
Okay, so it when you push it one way, it's gonna give you a signal and like you pushed up, down,
Right.
left, right.
exactly.
I get.
And then there's
okay,
also
so-
a press function to the when it's in its
Center,
middle
so like-
position. Mhm.
Okay, so that's why now this code all makes a lot more sense.
Oh, goody.
So you push you're what you're doing is you're like I'm gonna push it up to mean red,
Right.
and I'll get a signal that tells me I pushed the up button,
Right.
and then I'll push the center, which means send the data, which is whatever the last color I chose,
Right.
and the GPS data.
Right. Like
Okay.
say for instance you put that they're dead, but then you see them move. Well, they're not dead anymore, so you change it to where they need immediate help and then you push it, you know?
Which
Right,
color is
right,
that?
Red.
Immediate
so
is
black.
red.
Black is dead. Red is immediate. Yellow is delayed.
I like how the
Wait,
comment.
I
for
thought yellow
black-
meant they were another doctor like you.
Whiskers.
I like how in the comments you have black as expectant.
Yeah, that's the technical term, expectant.
The technical term for dead is that they're expectant.
Well, expected to be dead, or like they pretty much already dead, like near dead. Yeah,
I get it. It's just kind of funny because
Yeah.
it's like I'm expecting to die.
right. Well, I've seen this advertisement for a funeral home that said we'll
Yeah.
be waiting for you.
Oh,
What kind of advertisement
there's a
is that?
funeral home back
Oh,
east called
awkward.
Clock Funeral Home. It's the family name of the
Clock?
morticians. Clock.
Tick
yeah.
tock, tick tock.
Right.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So,
So this
Go
code
ahead.
makes a lot more sense now because when you sent it to me earlier and I was looking at this, I'm like, what the hell? Color
right.
in a 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4, 0. I was like,
Yep.
I don't get this,
Yep.
and now it makes a whole lot more sense. Okay.
So now there are a couple things with this code that I came across and that I had issues with that are now solved, but I want to know why. So do I have to set, so in the pub, there's two local variables, color, send color. And color I had to set to a number, even though I didn't want to. Like, I think, like, to myself, I think if I push the button, it should set the color at that point, right?
And it will. I don't understand why you think you need to. Like every position there, well, except the fact that if you don't put push up, down, left, or right before pushing center, color will be a random value
Okay. So yeah,
instead
so
of and your code sets it to 5
right,
first,
right.
which isn't one of the valid values for color to be.
Correct. Yes, correct.
So
Is that so you can catch it later on?
well, what you should have is in the send code where you have center send, it should check to make sure that color is a valid value first.
Okay.
So, like, it shouldn't send it if color is not 0, 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
Because 0, 1, 2, and 3 are the only valid colors to send,
Right.
For
Right.
your particular piece of code.
Error trap.
Yeah.
So you should not send, inside that condition where they press the center button, you should have it check if the color is, less than 0 or greater than 3,
Right.
then don't send.
So then my other thing was, why can't I set color : equals black?
Because you would need to define black to equal 5 in the constants section, the con section.
Oh.
That's what con is short for constants, and that's
Okay, wait. So I would say
that's a good programming. It's actually good that you brought that up because that's actually a good programming practice to make your code more readable.
yeah.
Instead of using special numbers like this,
Yeah.
it's better to define some words that equal numbers and use the words in your code because then your code will be more readable.
Right. But then I also want it sent, like that string to be sent to PST, the serial terminal.
Right, but you need to think of the label in the code that's actually a number is not a string, so it's
Right.
independent.
Yes. I understand that.
However, you could have a string table in a DAT section, so you could have a list of strings like we've done in other code, like in ByteByte, you have the program in a string in the DAT section.
Yeah.
And in your little pet program, you remember your little pet program, you have a whole bunch of those that
Yeah.
represent what it looks
Pet.
like.
Yeah, Propopet. Yep.
So you could do a similar thing with all the different color strings and index them with the numbers which you defined with the constants. So are you following me? So if at the top of the program in the con section you said, black equals 0, red equals 1, yellow equals 2, and green equals 3. Then you could, instead of saying color equals 0 for the black button, when they push
color equals black, : equals
you can
black.
say color : equals black.
Right.
And then at the end, in a DAT section, you could have the 4 strings for black, red, yellow, and green as the words spelled out as 4 different strings in there.
Okay.
And you could index them. It's a little bit complicated. You'd have to do it similar to how you did with proper pet. So you'd make each of the strings the same length. That would be the easiest way to do it.
Yep.
And then you would index them by using the color name, which equals a number from the con section, multiplied by the length of the string, and index into your string table, just like you did in Propopet. So you could go look at that code to remember how to do it.
Okay,
And then that
time
would
it
let you.
is.
We're out of time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad
Yeah.
because I'm interested in making this code better.
Roy was saying that having magic numbers for things isn't necessarily a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it can be a really hilarious thing.
Why?
Yeah.
So hardcore programmers and people who work behind the scenes will sometimes pick numbers, special numbers, called magic numbers,
Uh-huh.
and they'll turn up occasionally. And one popped into my head as he was talking there. On IPv6 Day, a bunch of websites went live on IP version 6 on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the companies that did was Cisco. And of course, Cisco is one of the companies that is writing the handling software that IPv6 runs on.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Right.
companies use their own, their own product to do what they do,
Mm-hmm.
it's called dog fooding in the industry.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And in
Yeah.
their IPv6 address, if you read it in hexadecimal,
Yeah.
part of it spells out Cisco dog food.
Ah, funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Cool.
magic numbers can be fun sometimes.
All
We
right.
do for some of our debug code, we'll fill up memory with bad food.
Yeah. And
Mm.
it's really easy
Yeah.
to see bad food in a hex editor or in a dump.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's also like dead beef, things you can
Dead
spell out
beef?
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can
'Cause you
spell
can
them
spell
in
it out.
hexadecimal.
With the first 6 letters of the alphabet, right?
Oh, I
And you
see.
could do this on the prop too with, the lights on the side.
Yeah.
Of a lot of the boards, they have that little bank of lights.
Yeah.
And you have different patterns that it's easy for the eye to recognize.
Yeah.
And you just
Right.
design your error codes to be 8 bits, and you just pump that 8-bit number onto the lights, and you
Mhm.
can see different patterns very easily to know which error happened visually.
Oh.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Anyway, you guys can find this show every Tuesday at firstspin.tv. There's an RSS link there on the side of the page if you want to have it automatically downloaded, or you can just push play right there on the page. That's it for us. We'll see you guys next week.
Ciao.
So yeah.